Okay, we've got a quick video here on how to prime your MistKing pump. So this isn't enclosure specific. This is just, a good video if you have a MistKing and you're just trying to plumb it all in and you're set up all your timers and everything and it's not spraying. It's not because the pump has an issue. It's just we have to get the air out of the line. We've got to run some water out of the hose itself, and then we're going to plug it into the actual mister itself. So we're going to kind of show you the sequence that we use to do it. There may be other ways to prime it, but this, has worked super well for us. And usually once you've got it, it's good until you lose prime, and then obviously you'd have to do it again if you run the reservoir dry. But this is easy, quick initial setup to show you how to get the MistKing system working. So on this one, I've already got the timer set up. So if you purchase a Heretic from us, we already go ahead and pre-program the MistKing with what we use at home. Now obviously you can adjust it yourself if you want, more or less, or you want misting to happen at a different time. This is just how we have it set up at home, so when you get it, it's kind of ready to go for you. But the one thing you're probably going to have to do if you order one of these from us, or obviously if you're doing a new build with a MistKing system, this is how you kind of get it set up and rolling. So this is going to be the priming part, and I'll walk you through the steps that we use to get it going. So I'll show you that stuff now. Just real quick, when this thing is lit up bright blue like that, that means the screen is active and you can start essentially the priming process. So to run the pump manually, what you're going to do is you have this top button and you have this timer button there. You're going to press those at exactly the same time. So you have to be pretty careful about that. But if you hold it, you'll see the screen back here behind my hand. Boom, that is running the pump. Now obviously nothing's happened because we haven't primed it yet. So I'll show you next how to do that. Okay, so first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take your MistKing tubing that goes to your reservoir. Now, obviously, this is a customer unit. We don't have the reservoir here for them. That's, we recommend people use those big, like 5-gallon water jugs you can get from, your local grocery store. Those fit in here perfectly fine. You can poke a hole in the top, and essentially you just run this booger straight to the bottom of that guy. But since this is just a test to get it priming, we're going to use this little small cup of water here just to get it to pull some water through the system. So just go ahead and pretend this is a big 5-gallon jug, and we've got the hose in there. So I'm going to show you what you do next, which is you're going to have to remove the hose from the first nozzle. So not the end nozzle, not a middle nozzle. The first nozzle that this hose runs to is what you're going to have to disconnect first to purge the air out of the line. So I'll go up there, I'll show you how that thing comes apart, and then we'll run the pump manually and we'll get some water. Okay, so we're going to remove, this is, for Heretic customers. Obviously, if you're putting your new system together, you probably haven't connected this yet, but when you receive one of these from us, this is already plumbed in. Ignore the crazy wiring. This is all just testing. I'm just trying to get it going, so this obviously could be cleaned up later. But I'll show you how this booger works. This fitting, this is a MistKing fitting. It is a one of their fittings. It's not an aftermarket one. So this is an actual MistKing stainless fitting. The way that these hoses work, it's kind of like a shark bite system in plumbing. It just presses in and then it doesn't come back out. Now the way to get it back out is you've got this little black collar right there. What you'll do is you'll press that collar down and you'll pull out on the hose at the same time. Boom, comes straight out. We have a little catch can up here because this is what is going to grab our water that we run through the system initially. So you can do this by yourself. It helps if you have another person, just so the hose isn't flopping around all crazy behind it and stuff. So if you've got a buddy or somebody who can hang on to this thing while you run it, it makes life way easier. So we'll run the pump, we'll purge the air, we'll get the water in here, and once we're done with that, we'll simply just push it right back in. That's it. So out she comes, and I'm going to hand this to my lovely assistant, and we're going to run the pump manually like I showed you earlier with those two buttons until we have a good solid stream of water coming through here. So watch that. So I've got the hose down here in our reservoir, and I'm going to run that pump manually, and I'm going to get water flowing through that hose up there. So here we go. Takes a couple seconds to get it running. Boom, boom, boom.
Yep. Okay.
Okay, good steady stream.
Mm-hmm.
Looks wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I'm turning that off. Now you'll just push it back in that fitting.
Videoing and okay.
Beautiful.
Yep.
All right, so now I'm going to do the same thing again, and our nozzle should spray. Just make sure that the end cap is off of the fitting because they come with a little rubber cap on them. I'm a dummy and I've left it on many times and couldn't figure out what was going on, but I've already taken it off, so I'm going to do the same thing again and run her, and she ought to spray. There she goes. That's it. So this booger's primed and ready. You know, with this particular enclosure, even after shipping, you might have to do this again. Just it may lose prime, bumping around in the truck all the way, but this is just the procedure that you use to do it, and it works just fine. But that's pretty much it. Just try and be diligent about keeping the water level in your reservoir high enough that this doesn't run dry, because if this thing sucks air, you just got to repeat that procedure. So not a big deal, but it's kind of a pain in the butt when you're in a hurry and trying to go to work and you're like, ah, crap, why is it not working? Just make sure you got a little water in that reservoir and that this is at the bottom. But that's it. Super easy. Okay, now another quick feature you may have seen that is not part of the MistKing system, but it's a little gizmo that we made. I've got a straight fitting in here, so this is kind of Heretic specific stuff. We may just kind of offer these as an accessory for other stuff if, you know, people think it's cool. But we had an issue with space in here, so we've got this ginormous 220 watt Wilbanks panel, so it really limits our ceiling space. So we've got our halogen basking fixture, which is going to fit here, and I didn't want water spraying on it constantly. I have some at home that don't have this little, you know, guard on here, and it sprays them all the time and it doesn't seem to hurt them, but you know, I figured, well, let me go ahead and make a little gizmo to try and keep it off there. And so you can kind of watch when I run it, it does a pretty good job of letting moisture past it and keeping it away from that fixture. And it's also kind of cool that it gathers and drips a little bit. I'm like, I don't know, that might be kind of sweet for chameleon setups or something. If I made one that maybe went all the way around, but for the Heretic works great. So it keeps water off that fixture for the most part. You know, it helps with longevity and just kind of keeps stuff cleaner. It kind of looks cool too. So if you're wondering what that thing was, now you know.